All right, everybody, welcome into another yoga style breathing class. We do borrow some breathing techniques from things like Qi Gong and other breathing styles as well, but primarily yoga style breathing, sometimes called Pranayama. Anyway, there will be some traditional breathing techniques and some newer styles as well in this one. Feel free to get to a comfortable posture, whatever that is. I teach this class primarily from the floor and seated in a chair. You don't have to bounce up and down onto the chair and back to the floor with me. Just notice I'll be back and forth so that I can kind of speak to a bigger audience, essentially, so that it's more accessible for everyone. So if you are on the floor, you might kind of slouch a little bit with your back against the wall. We're just finding a comfortable posture, a resting position, essentially. If you're in a chair, right, it might look like this. You might be slumped down a little bit. It's not a rigid, stiff spine, a straight vertical spine posture quite yet. Okay, we're not striving for anything yet. This is our rest state. All right, start to wiggle the toes, warm up, coming up the body, pedaling the ankles. Now, it might not look like we're moving very much, but I am moving my toes up and down, okay? I might extend my knees a little bit, kicking left and right. If you're on the floor, again, wiggling the toes up and down with the ankles, and then straighten either leg out, left and right. Okay, working our way up the hips here. For the hips, imagine you're sitting on the sand and you want to kind of settle your bottom deeper and deeper and deeper into the sand. So the right hip forward, left hip forward, kind of shuffling, right? Kind of wiggling the hips, burrowing deeper into the sand. Same thing if you're on the chair. Your knees will slide front to back, front to back. All right, now we can start to sit up nice and tall. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose if you can. Waking up that breathing system, and exhale through the mouth. I'm not going for any particular rhythm or pace at this time, just kind of a natural breath in through the nose if that feels natural to you, and out through the mouth. Now, I would say that I'm typically a mouth breather, which is not a good thing, right? And if you're a mouth breather too, I promise breathing in through the nose is hard at first, and then it gets easier. The airway opens up. It's like any other muscle that you can exercise, except it's not necessarily a muscle. It's a tissue that fills with blood and becomes more open as you practice. So anyway, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Reminder to sit up nice and tall. Try to bring the crown of the head, the top of the head, up toward the ceiling or the sky. All right, let's start to roll the shoulders up, back, and down, whether you're seated in a chair or seated on the floor. A few more here. Smooth and steady. And then let's reverse directions on this last one. Up, forward, and down. Big shoulder rolls if you can. Throughout this class, you're welcome to breathe at my rhythm, my pace. Here and there, you might want to come out of it if you're starting to feel dizzy, lightheaded, headachy, right? We want to avoid any of that discomfort stuff. This is a feel-good class. This should help to wake us up for the day or settle us down depending on how you use it. Okay, and I'll explain that more as we go. There might be a couple of breathing exercises that you avoid because they're more stimulating, or if you're trying to settle down, or if you're trying to wake up, you might avoid some of the calming breaths that we go over. All right, turning the head left and right for some neck motion. Let's just bend and extend the elbows, even though that's not the core purpose of the class, and then roll the wrist. Now everything feels like it has moved at least a little bit, right? All right, to start our breathing practice here, we're going to work on moving the spine front to back, okay? So there's lots of different sitting styles you could be in. You could have your hands down and back like this and move the ribs forward to back. One way I like to start is with my feet together, okay, and my hands are just resting on my legs here, and I'm pushing forward to back, forward to back, okay, front to back, kind of rounding the spine, extending the spine. Okay? You could also sit with crisscross legs like this, easy sit posture, hands on the knees. The limbs are not critical here. This is all about the spine moving in conjunction with our breathing. Okay? So find a most comfortable posture for your legs, something that reduces pressure, pressuring your sit bones, pressure in your heels, pressure areas. Okay? If you're in a chair, I would just recommend sitting with your hands on your knees and working like this, the sternum going front to back. Okay, so I'll start seated in the chair, and I'm going to get to the floor. I haven't spent a lot of time in the chair yet, but this is how I will start. So breathing in through the nose as I push the ribs forward. Exhale, rounding the spine a little bit. And it's just a mild movement at first, especially. If you're not used to this movement, it might be achy and sore. If you are used to this movement and it feels good for you, then great. That's something to celebrate. All right, in through the nose as we press the sternum forward. Exhale as we round the spine. You might tilt the nose up just a little bit, which opens up the airway as you breathe in, and then exhale, rounding at the back a little bit. Breathing in, extend the spine. Exhale, flex the spine. Couple more here. It's okay to make some sound as you inhale and as you exhale. All right, give it a brief break. This next one involves moving in a twisting fashion, right? So the spine's going to rotate. As we inhale, we reach back with the left arm. Exhale and unwind. Inhale, reach back with the right arm. Exhale and unwind. This is spinal rotation, right? Try to find some length in the spine, pulling the back of the head and the neck straight up, like toward the ceiling, toward the sky. I'm using my hands, my right hand, to kind of press against the outside of my legs here to add to my twist. If that's too much, right? If it's causing pain and pinching, avoid that, right? I'm not going to call it a pain-free class, but we don't want to cause more pain, right? Switch sides and in as we twist. If you're on the floor, now you can keep going there. You don't have to wait for me to describe to the floor folks. If you're in the chair, you already know what you're doing. If you're on the floor, you could have your knees up, right? I need to scoot away from my wall just a little bit. You could have your knees up and twist. You could have your feet together, same leg postures as before. Remember, this is about the spine for now. The other limbs are they're really just there to keep us upright for this practice. Okay? I'm going to slow it down a little bit here so I can get a fuller, deeper breath. And yet again, I'm changing my sit posture, so I'm doing crisscross legs now, which is not my favorite, but I do want to demonstrate for everybody the options. If it's your favorite, don't let me knock it, right? Exhale and unwind. Slow and steady, reach and breathe in. Now modify this in the future. If your shoulders are bothering you doing this, don't reach up so high. In fact, don't reach up at all and just do the shoulders. Just just rotate back, just turning the spine. You don't have to reach. Reaching is a good way to illustrate this turn, and for me, it gets me to turn a little bit further, but if it's making you turn too far and you're getting some pinching in the ribs and the spine, too far is too far, right? So back off. And unwind. Turning and unwind. A couple more. Here's one. And last one, nice deep breath. And let it out. Okay. We started with front to back, spinal extension and flexion. Now we're going to do a focus area on one of those, and we'll switch it and go the other way. So first I'm going to focus on spinal flexion. That's rounding the back like this. You can hug the legs like I'm doing. As you breathe in, what we're filling here is this upper back with air, okay? I mean, obviously it's the lungs that fill with air, but if we're rounded forward with our stomach on our legs, it can't fill in the front of your body. So you might see my back rise here as I breathe in. That's what we want. We're getting some expansion in the upper back here, right? We're opening up all these different chambers and areas of the body for better airflow, to increase our lung capacity. Right? Our lungs are surrounded by lots of other structures, and we're stretching those structures out. So hugging the legs. Another option might be holding the feet and folding forward, kind of rounding the back here. As you breathe in, the upper back expands upward, right? My nose has a little whistle right now. That's fun. Okay. If you're in a chair, you could put your forearms down just above your knees with your knees close together, right? Like this. Knees are close together. And as you breathe in, that back rises up. As you exhale, it sort of deflates. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, deflate. You are also welcome to grab underneath the legs and help by pulling just up a tad bit, right? You don't want to hurt your shoulders, so don't overdo it, but just a little bit of pressure pulling up as we breathe in. Exhale, let loose. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, deflate. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, let it out. Last one, in and up. Exhale, let it out. Okay, I'm going to roll up slow and steady. As you come out of that, you might have achiness in the spine, right? If you're not used to rounding the back and breathing and really expanding those tissues in the upper back here, there might be some discomfort when you come out of it. Anytime you stretch one way, your body's like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And then you flip it, your body doesn't usually agree with that. At least mine doesn't. So I get a little bit sore when I come out of it. It goes away for me. So I wouldn't worry. If it's sharp pain, right, you're probably overdoing it. You don't want sharpness, okay? All right, the reverse of that is spinal extension, okay? So we pull the shoulder blades back, we push the ribs forward. Hopefully you can see kind of the rounding for my spine here. And I'm going to use a little bit of leverage myself, but you don't have to. You could just have your hands in the air or on your sides, right? And you could just move the sternum. It's about the spine. But I like the leverage that I get by holding onto the knees, and I pull. Okay, I'm actually using my hands a little bit to pull my shoulder blades back, and my sternum, my ribs, everything goes forward. Shoulder blades back, ribs go forward. Exhale and unwind. Breathing in. Exhale and unwind. Notice I'm not rounding forward to come out of it. It's just extending the spine followed by kind of something sort of neutral. Okay. If you're on the floor, same things, right? You can hold onto the ankles and pull the ribs forward. You could cross the legs, hold onto the knees and push the ribs forward. I like this one a little bit, quite a bit actually, where I put my hands behind me, and when I breathe in, I push my sternum up toward the sky. Exhale back to neutral. Breathing in, pushing up. Exhale back to neutral. Breathing in, pushing up. Exhale back to neutral. In and the ribs go up. Exhale back. Okay? Let's do a few more here. Let's do a handful more, maybe 5. In. Exhale, deflate. In, coming up. Exhale, come out. In, coming up. Exhale, let it out. I'm going to do 2 more. I didn't count. In, coming up. And out. I'll do one last one. Nice deep breath in. And there we are. All right, this next one involves side bending, okay? So we filled the front body, right? Expanding the chest in the front. We did the back of the body, right? Expanding the upper back here as we took breaths in. This is for our sides, okay? So there's going to be a few options here. If you don't want to wait for my descriptions, you can get ahead of me, that's fine. But here's what I'd recommend if you're on the floor. You can put your left hand down beside you, okay? And reach up with the right arm. When I breathe in there, let me show you, turn around here. When I breathe in here, I'm trying to expand the tissue on the side of my ribs here on the right side. So I'm breathing in and pushing my ribs over to the right. Now you don't have to have your hand overhead like that. Okay? That's the way I've seen it usually. But for me, I get just as good of expansion in the ribs here if I just let my arm rest down. So I'm tipping to the side a little bit and I'm breathing in, filling the right side of my body here. Exhale, deflate the side body, okay? Repeat that maybe 4 or 5 times and then switch. I wouldn't switch between each breath. That's just a lot of twisting and rotating. I would go multiple times on one side and then switch multiple times on the other. Okay, let me just show you from behind to see if that's a better view for you. I don't know. I've got my feet together just like before. My right hand is down. Left hand just resting on my shin over here. When I breathe in, my left side of my ribs are going to expand. So I breathe in and deflate. Breathing in and deflate. Okay, you're welcome to do more of that. You can crisscross the legs. You could have the legs straight. Remember, this is about the spine, so don't worry about where your legs are in your arms. This one, in a chair, I like to do this one just like this. Nice wide feet. Okay, I'll face you for this first. I think this one will make more sense facing you. Nice wide feet, wide knees, right? I'm going to rest my left forearm just above my left knee. Now from here, my right hand's going to kind of, it's kind of like a kickstand. It's holding on to my right knee, right? And when I breathe in, I'm lean to the left, so my right ribs, my goal here is to expand the right ribs. So I might have to push out a little bit, but breathing in. Exhale, deflate. Breathing in. Exhale, deflate. And I'm going to turn for another view for you. Same thing, right hand on my right knee, leaning over to the left, breathing in. Exhale, deflate. Breathing in. Exhale, deflate. All right, I'm going to switch sides here. Breathing in on the left. Or whatever side you're on, doesn't matter to me. Let it out. Breathing in on the left. Let it out. Here's number 3. And number 4. Let it out. Switch sides. I'm going to do at least one more set on each side. Here's 1. Let it out. 2. Let it out. 3. Let it out. And 4. Let it out. Switching sides, last one, last round for me anyway. You're welcome to do more. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, last one out. Come on up, roll the shoulders, move the parts just a little bit so that they prevent any soreness and stiffness and achiness, right? Front to back with the sternum maybe. Great job, everybody. All right, I'm gonna move on to a rhythm of breathing next. So everything that we've been doing so far has been opening up different sections of really the thoracic cavity, right? The chest, the upper chest and back kind of spinal area, right? For better breathing. Now I'm going to work on a few breathing patterns that you're welcome to join me with. Again, if you get dizzy, lightheaded, that kind of stuff, fatigued, fatigue is fine, but if you don't feel well, kind of re-regulate your breathing pattern and catch your breath, right? All right, so here we are. I would say get into a comfortable but upright posture. So if you're sitting in a chair, maybe your hands are on your knees, you could do palms up like you're going to receive something, like receiving a gift or holding, I guess I'm holding air right now, but a package, whatever. So you could do palms down or palms up, shoulder blades back. So it's a fairly comfortable sitting posture for me, right? I'm not doing any twisting or weird stuff. It's just that I am alert, okay? If you're on the floor, same thing. If you get pressure in your sit bones, you can put your hands down on the ground and kind of wiggle the hips and reduce some of that pressure. But get somewhat comfortable is what I would say, okay? This first pattern here is a ratio. So we're going to breathe in for 5 counts, out for 5 counts. In for 5, out for 5. Then I'll make it faster and I'll go in for 3, out for 3, in for 3, out for 3. And I'm going to end, if you've been in these classes before, with a vigorous breath, okay? And it is pretty intense. You breathe in, out, and it's hard to get a full deep breath in through my nose, right? I can't actually. I'm not filling my lungs completely when I do that. And that's okay, right? It's not going to be that long, but it is a pretty vigorous breath, like I said. So it's a stimulating exercise. We will be alert from this, okay, or worn out, one of the two, right? So think of this as like raising the heart rate and awareness and alertness, the focus, okay? If you're trying to take a nap after this or go rest, right? You might do the 5-to-5 ratio and the 3-and-3 ratio and skip, just skip out on the vigorous breathing. All right? So here we are. Feel free to move the spine a little bit, but I'm not going to give you specific guidance on it. For me, I like the sternum going forward and back. If you would rather move some other way, that's fine with me as well. So do what works for you. Movement is okay. All right, here we are. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Speed it up. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Still trying to get a full deep breath. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Feel free to adjust your body. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Last 1, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. All right, skip the vigorous breathing if it feels like it's too much or it's too alerting right now for you. Here we go. In, out, in, out, in through the nose, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. You might tilt your nose up, out, in, out, in, out, in, 10, in, 9, in, 8, in, 7, in, 6, in, 5, in, 4, in, 3, in, 2, in, 1. Last breath in, nice and slow and steady. Resetting, re-regulating, catching your own breath. Coming in and out at your own rhythm. For me, after a fast breath like that, I have to go in and out like 7 or 8 or 9 seconds in. So it's slower for me right after that, just to catch my breath. All right, next up, to contrast that, I am going to follow up with a calming breath next, which has a different ratio, okay? We don't do 5, then 3, then basically 1 second in, 1 second out. This calming breath, and I would again get to a fairly comfortable posture. It doesn't have to be your most comfortable posture, but maybe a little bit slumped in comparison to our alert movement posture that we just did, okay? So you might be kind of relaxed back. You could even have your back against a wall or sitting back a little bit more in a chair. Would be fine. In fact, I'll get to a chair just to demonstrate that way. But this one is a calming breath, so it's a deceleration, right? The ratio here is 4 seconds in, okay? Then we hold our breaths for 7 seconds. So it's 4 in, hold for 7, and out for 8. Now this is a ratio, it's not seconds exactly. It could be 8 seconds in and 14 second hold and 16 second out, but it's more of a ratio than a second. But I'm gonna do my counting at my own rhythm, 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out, which means you've got to exhale slower than you inhale, right? Obviously, yeah, twice as fast of an inhale as an exhale. So moderate and really think about how much air you're letting out. Otherwise, you'll run out of air too quick, right? So here we are. I'm going to find my comfortable posture. Soften my eyes even. So there are visual techniques as well with regulating your energy. If you're really high on energy right now, I'm going to bring us back down just a little bit. And I'm going to soften the eyelids. They don't have to be closed, but I'm not going to instruct any movement, so you don't actually have to watch me. Here we are. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Catch your own breathing pattern. I think we did about 5 of those. It's hard to count 4 things at once, but I think we did about 5 of those. You're welcome to do those much longer. You could do those for 10 minutes straight, as long as you're not, running out of air and things like that. But I'm going to move on to another practice. With that one, you can always go back to if you want to try a calming breath, okay, to settle. All right, our next one. This is not about rhythm per se. It's a style of exhale. I've already mentioned the style of inhale is pretty simple. In through the nose and out through the mouth, kind of, right? That's kind of our basic. Often we want to breathe in through the nose for several reasons, really. One, it's a filtering system, right? There's mucus and there's hair that helps to work as a filter. 2, it cools and heats air. It regulates the temperature of air coming in the winter, right? It's going to warm air, but if you're in Arizona in the hottest months, then it's going to cool air. But because it's a longer pathway for the air to go through your nostrils and into your lungs than it is through your mouth. Anyway, temperature regulation. My favorite reason to breathe in through the nose, though, is it produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is amazing. It's a vaso and bronchodilator, right? So it opens up air vessels and blood vessels and helps to deliver oxygen and nutrients throughout the body, right? So it's going to help with just about everything to breathe in through the nose because you're producing that nitric oxide. Amazing. So, all that being said, try to breathe in through the nose as much as you can, even if it's just a portion of your inhale, okay? Okay, so breathing in through the nose here, out through the mouth. Now I'm going to start doing pursed lip breathing where I'm controlling a small amount of air as I exhale. It's like I'm breathing out through a small straw-sized hole, like a little pin, okay? So in through the nose, and you might exhale for 20 seconds or a whole minute as you do this. Now I could exhale longer, and you should keep going if you can. But for those who have run out of air already, you want to breathe back in once you're out of air. Okay, so breathing in. Once you run out, which should take longer than it took to breathe in, right? It could take a long time. Some people have an amazing lung capacity, right? If you're a singer, I spoke to somebody yesterday, they play a lot of instruments, a lot of woodwind instruments, they play a flute, and their airway is trained, right? If you're a diver, if you have been a diver, there's lots of people out there who have amazing lung capacities, and those folks are going to exhale longer, probably, right? Here we are, in through the nose. Pursed lip breathing as we exhale. Now keep going there. If you would like to add this, you can make it rhythmic. So you can tap the tongue to the back of your teeth or roof of your mouth and make it sound like this. And listen to those sounds, right? Change the sounds, manipulate the sounds here and there, and really get lost in them. That can be calming as well. All right, in through the nose. You can speed up your rhythm and go, or slow it down and go. All right, so see what that does to you, right? See what that does for you. All right, wiggle the fingers, move the legs a little bit here. And I'm gonna get to a closing here, and it'll take just a couple minutes. Roll my shoulders a couple times. If you are on the floor, I would recommend getting back to your initial posture, whether that's with your back against the wall, or even more relaxing, getting all the way on the floor on your back would be an option. If you're in the chair, you can slump down, slump back, and then we're gonna find rest here for just a minute. I'm gonna soften my eyes, breathe in through my nose. When I exhale, I'm actually gonna make some sound, right? Which if you're not used to this, feels very unusual, right? It feels weird. It is a little weird, but it's great. Sound is vibration, and vibration helps to regulate all sorts of things and produce all sorts of goodness in the body. So vibration is good here. So we're breathing in, and the first sound I'm going to make is an ah sound, like a, right? And let it out. Now, I'm not worried about the actual note you hit, right? I don't care if it's a C note or a D note. Mine's going to be all awful. I'm a terrible singer. But the ah sound. All right, we've got a few more sounds. The next one is ooh, like a bunch of O's in a row. In through the nose. Ooh. You can feel the lips vibrating. You can feel the throat vibrating. Ooh. All right. Now on our next one, you can re-regulate your breathing. Catch your breath a couple times. I'm going to inhale through the nose. Then I'm going to close my mouth and make an sound, like that's delicious, or M&Ms, or I don't know, mystery, the letter M, okay? And this is a warming technique. It'll heat up because there's no air that exits the mouth this way. So that warm air that's inside your body is going to come out your nose. So it's going to warm up the vessels in your nasal airway. So here we are, in through the nose. All right, and you're welcome to do that much longer if you've got the air capacity for it. Our final sound here, this is my last one, I promise. This is one of my favorites. I feel the most vibration, right? Which means probably the most blood flow is encouraged from this one. I don't know that for sure, but this is a buzzing breath. So it's like a Z sound, like a buzzing bee. Like you go bzzz. And in my head, I can feel more vibration in the back of the head, the sides, the top. Especially actually if my head is touching something like the ground. So if you're in the chair, that's fine, you can stay there. But if you're on the floor, you might feel this sensation even more. That vibration, for me anyway, is amplified for this particular sound when I'm on the ground. So here I am, nose up just a little bit, in through the nose. And let it out with a buzz. Buzz. Don't be afraid to make it kind of loud. That's fine, right? I don't think you're offending anybody. Keep on going. All right, and everybody, go ahead and get up at your own pace, slow and steady, nice deep breaths. Let it out. And thank you all so much for coming. I'm sure your bodies thank you again for another breathing style yoga class. And again, we do borrow some breathing sounds and techniques from the Qi Gong classes that I teach as well. If you liked the movement and breathing where it's paired together, where we rotate, breathe in, and exhale, we do a lot of that paired breathing and movement in our Qi Gong classes as well. It's spelled Q-I-G-O-N-G, Qi Gong. And it literally it translates to breath work. So we don't just breathe in that class. We do a lot more movement, some standing, some seated in a chair. I don't do anything on the floor though. But if you're interested in more motion paired with breathing, you might check out one of the Qi Gong classes. All right, until next time, everybody, thank you all so much and have a wonderful week.